All right. Topic number 2. You came up with this one. You want to tee this up? Big Ten most important player?
Yeah. So we were talking about like one question maybe with Big Ten teams, and the random idea popped into my head is going team by team in the Big Ten and naming who the most important player on the team is. Like, this is not the best player, this is not the worst player, this is not anything. This is the most important player that'll directly flip whether a team is successful or not successful.
I like this. I like this a lot. All right. I have the teams listed out. You want me to kind of moderate here and then you go first? I'll go second.
It's probably better that you moderate teams.
Before we do this, let's both play a quick over-under. How many teams will we say the same player for?
6.
That's where I'm at too. let's call it 6.5. And if we get to 7, if we have the same player for over half the teams, then we should be feeling really, really good about this. Okay. Team number 1, are Illinois Fighting Illini? Who is the most important player? Most important player for Illinois?
I almost had a last second thought about changing it, but I'm not going to change it. It's Coleman Hawkins.
Okay, not my answer. Marcus Damask is my answer. Why is it Coleman?
I just think that Coleman's what he can do offensively and defensively, and him making strides, especially in decision making and shot selection, I think raises the floor of this team. And I think there's going to be a time where people might think it's Ty Rodgers. It's not Ty Rodgers. I don't think Ty Rodgers' play is going to be that important to this team because they can move off of him if they need to, as far as point guard. I like the Damask shout, but I think I'm going Coleman Hawkins. I think what he can do offensively and defensively can really raise the floor of this team.
Okay, yeah, I thought I was going to maybe say Ty. It was between Ty, Harmon, and Damask for me. But my qualifier here is I think you have to be good in order to be the most important. So that's how I landed on Marcus Damask. I think he is the best player of those 3. And yeah, no, I don't hate the Coleman shout, I guess, but I think my stance on Coleman currently right now is he is what he is. I think him and Terrence Shannon are what they are. I don't think there is much of a leap coming for either of those guys. I don't think Terrence Shannon is going to be like a first-team All-American. I don't think Coleman Hawkins is going to go from like 9-5 to 15-7. I maybe I'm wrong. I think if Illinois is better this year, it's going to come from somebody around those guys. And I do think Damask could potentially be that. He had 8-6 in their first game, and everybody seemed very impressed with that. If he averages 8-6 this season, I think Illinois will be very bad. So
8-6-6.
8-6-6. You're right. Shouldn't forget the 6. But I think weirdly, I think they need more from Damask if they're going to be ahead of where they were a year ago. He can't score 8 points in games, even if he is getting 6 assists. Moving to team number 2, who is the most important player on Indiana?
Kalo Ware.
We're going to go way under 6 here. Mine is Xavier Johnson.
I think Xavier Johnson is what he is.
I do too, but couldn't he be what he is in a backcourt that lost Jalen Hood-Schifino and just be asked to do way more? And by default, that looks different. Because I feel like Indiana has staked their whole season on Xavier Johnson is good. Like his play is gonna be what decides what they are to me. Like if Khalil Ware's bad, okay, play Renault and Ibaka if he's not in jail. Like
yeah. I just feel like if Khalil Ware does what he does against folding chairs, like it's going to be scenes, and there's no one that could check him in the Big Ten.
Okay, I like that. I strongly disagree that that's the most important player on Indiana, but I like the call out.
Yeah, we are going way under.
We're going way under. Team number 3, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Who's their most important player? I think I'm sorry. I also feel like you're changing your answers now to try to match mine. Am I wrong on that?
No, I promise I won't. But now it's in my head that we're not going to be the same. I said Tony Perkins.
It's Peyton Sanford for me. Why is it Tony Perkins for you?
because if Tony Perkins is what you think he is, Iowa has a chance to be good and be like this high usage. He's the next high usage great player. My second player would have been McCaffrey, but I went with Tony Perkins because I think like he's going to be the one they prop up as the high usage, do it all guy. And like you have tried to tell me before, Perkins can be that guy. I don't see it, but I think he can be that guy. You
So
think he can be that guy?
I think he can be that guy, and I think he will be that guy. But to me, like I don't view that as important almost because I'm penciling in whoever Fran decides is his first option being great. But that like they've had great players in that role before, and it hasn't meant they're a great team. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm more concerned for Iowa basketball, who is the Robin to the Batman. The Batman's going to be Batman. Like we got Fran. He's a Fran offense first option is good. We don't got to worry about that. We do got to worry about what does Peyton Sandfort look like. Is he the same guy last year that shot 34% from three? Or is he a 15 a game scorer and now they have this two-headed monster? Like that's where I'm framing it. I would not put Pat Calf even in the conversation, like no offense, but given his whole career and his struggles with mental health, like I don't think it's fair to expect or even ask much more and say he's that pivotal to this team season. I think it really comes down to Perkins and Sandfort, and we just pick each other's guy.
Peyton Sandfort will be the worst Sandfort on Iowa this year.
That's an insane take. You really like Price?
No, I think people need to start having a long look at what Peyton Sandfort actually is. I think Michigan State fans look at him a lot differently than other fans look at him.
I think you're right on that part, but I think that's a take just to have a take that he's not the best Sandfort brother on this team. Come on, dog. Okay, let's move on. Maryland. Who is the most important player on Maryland?
Can you say yours first? Please tell me we got
I'm
it
always
right.
saying yours. I have them listed right here. I can see them.
I have Dante Scott.
We might not get one. I have Deshaun Harris-Smith. Why is Dante Scott so important for this team? why is their fourth option big, who has just been 9 a game his whole career, their most important player?
Because I'm penciling in Reese, Jameer Young, and Deshaun Harris-Smith as being good.
Okay.
Like I think they're going to be good. I don't think there's a chance any of those guys are bad, to be honest with you. But there's a chance that Dante Scott continues on the path, and then the fact that he's got worse every single year.
Wouldn't Kaiser then, though, if you're going that route, the other three are good. Wouldn't Kaiser be the most important?
I had Kaiser at first, and I switched to Scott.
Okay. I thought about Kaiser. I think it's whichever one of the freshmen you think is the bigger needle mover. Because Young is what he is. I think Reese and Scott are what they are. That's a good team as is. It's like, is one of these two a superstar or not? Is what decides Maryland season.
If I was going freshman, I would have went Kaiser.
Okay. You're rock solid that Harris-Smith is going to be that good?
Mm-hmm.
If that's true, then he's their most important guy, though. Like
I know he's going to be good.
Okay. But this isn't like biggest question mark. This is like what's most important. Like if Harris-Smith is as good as you think he is, then he's their most important guy.
Did I just do this exercise completely wrong?
I don't know, man. Let's go to team number 5, Michigan. My Wolverines. Who is the most important player on Michigan?
Doug.
This is a layup. Thank you. Doug McDaniel.
Doug.
That's one. I would have been really mad if you didn't say Doug McDaniel. All right. Do we need to talk about that at all? I mean, he's alone in the backcourt. He's their everything.
Yeah. He's the do-it-all point guard.
Okay, so we're 1 for 4. Still a slight chance we backdoor cover this. Who is the most important player on Michigan State? This is the hardest one. This is the hardest one on the list by far.
It was. I said Tyson Walker.
Okay. This might be the first one that you gave a better answer than I gave.
Yeah, I think it's Tyson Walker. I think Tyson's going to be great. I'm not upset that Tyson's going to be great, but there's a lot of pressure on Tyson to be good because we don't know what the other guy, like the reason why, and I know you pointed out that Michigan State lost 13 games last year, but the reason why they were so good
and the year before.
God damn it, Gregory. Tyson and Joey were so consistent throughout the whole year that the fact that shortcomings with other players or other players not having to step up didn't necessarily matter. Like if Tyson, let's say, goes through a rough patch or goes through some tough times or something like that, it's a scary proposition to be like, okay, AJ Hoggard has to be the guy to step up, or shit, even Jay Nakins has to be the guy to step up. So I think it's very important that Tyson Walker is the All-American level type player he can be.
Okay, I like that argument. First off, I love that you're manufacturing adversity for your best player, first of all. Like, if he goes through some tough times. Second, if he did go through some tough times, it would be AJ Hoggard, then it would be Trey Holloman, then it would be Jeremy Fears, then it would be Malik Hall, then it would be Jaden Akins, who's asked to pick up the burden. They really trust. They just don't. They don't give Jaden Akins much leash. I think I should change my answer, but I'm not going to. My answer was Carson Cooper. Based on everything you said, I would like to change my answer to AJ Hoggard because I think Tyson is what he is. He's a fringe All-American. That's great. Like him being back to the conversation from weeks ago. If he averages 17 a game or 15 a game, it doesn't matter. That's the same to me. If AJ Hoggard took a leap, that would change everything for this team. But again, I test through one game. He's the same guy. But AJ could be a leap guy. My original answer was Carson Cooper, though, because this got totally switched after the first, whatever you call it, exhibition game. I just finally see it. I feel like my eyes have been opened. I see a ceiling that this team hasn't had at center in years. I mean, like, I guess Marcus Bingham had a ceiling, but even his ceiling was limited by his lungs. I see the ceiling now. I see like, oh, wait, we might not have to play Mady Sissoko all game. So I don't want to fully buy the stock yet. I'm holding, although I've never had it, so I don't know if I can hold it. But I guess if Carson Cooper was just a really good center, this team is like number 1 in the country good, not number 4 in the country good. So that's my answer.
Just something didn't sit right with me about me saying the most important player to my team is Carson Cooper. It didn't sit right with me.
It feels really wrong. I should have picked AJ Hoggard for that. Let's move on to Minnesota. We are 1 for 7. No, we're 1 for 6 right now. This is our 7th. Who's Minnesota's most important player?
I didn't pick a player from Minnesota.
I mean, that's a layup for us to try to get on the board for going over 6.
I mean, it'd be Cam Christie.
It's Pharrell Payne. He's the only good player on Minnesota. Like, could Pharrell Payne be a first-team All-Big Ten guy? Yes or no? That's all
Maybe.
that for Minnesota. That's okay.
But also, I literally did not pick a Minnesota player.
Okay, let's move. Do you know who Pharrell Payne is?
Yeah, the center.
Can you tell me anything else about him?
He's really good. He's from Minnesota. I know that.
The Carter Elliott trope. If you know anything, you know where they're from.
He's good.
1 for 7. Did you pick a player for Nebraska?
Yes, I did.
Who's the most important player on Nebraska basketball?
DeMarcus Lawrence.
It's obviously Tominaga. Why is it DeMarcus Lawrence?
Because Kisei needs a sidekick.
Okay, and you think it's DeMarcus Lawrence?
I do. Shout out to my guy Michael Peterson. He put me on this guy. He sent me his name, and then I started like actually diving into it and watching what this dude did. He started playing last year when, I don't want to mispronounce his name, but Bamadel got hurt. And like when he played major minutes, he was like a double-digit scorer for this team. And he played really, really well. A Jersey kid, I believe he went to Roselle Catholic, so a really good high school program as well. I really like him. And for some reason, I didn't notice what he did. He had a pretty good game against Michigan State, actually, when we played at Nebraska. But I think like him stepping up as Kisei's running mate could lead to this being a more successful team.
Okay. Yeah, despise that answer. Nebraska is just Kisei Tominaga to me. No offense. But the only thing that matters for that team is, can he score 30 a game instead of 17 a game? 1 for 8. We move on. Northwestern. And I swear to God, I want to kill this segment if you try and tell me Brooks Barnheiser is the most important player on this team.
It's Budarius, man.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, we've reached a point of clarity where if it's a team who has nothing except for one guard who's going to be on the ball, then we can agree that that's the most important player. We have Doug and we have Boo. Boo might be the most important player in the conference.
Maybe the country.
I'm not kidding. That's a high bar, but he can do it. Who's the most important player on your Ohio State Buckeyes?
I want to get this right. All right, I'm not gonna change it. It's still Bruce Thornton.
If you changed it, who would you have changed it to?
I probably would have changed it to either Middleton. Probably Middleton.
Okay. Yeah, this is other than the Michigan State Carson Cooper answer, this is the only other one I didn't feel great about. My answer is Jamison Battle. Here's why.
I'd say okay. I like your answer.
So I think that Bruce Thornton, while very good, I think that Bruce Thornton is what he is. And I don't think there is going to be much of like this guy becomes a 3-level facilitator, like an all-around point guard. Bruce Thornton is a bucket. He's came straight out of the Bryce Sensabaugh school of just a bucket. And there's nothing wrong with that on this team because Ohio State needs someone to be the bucket and they have more pieces around them to step up and guard the way last year's team didn't. You can play one guy who's just a bucket. You can't play two guys who are just a bucket. Jamison Battle to me is a guy that has been first team all Big Ten before. Or if not, if he wasn't first team, he was very close. He's been all Big Ten before at Minnesota. And from that first scrimmage, it's causing me to reevaluate everything I think about Ohio State because I think Jamison Battle in the Ohio State Chris Holtmann offense, which has been so good for wings, could end up being, if not the best wing in this conference, one of them immediately. Like he's not going to match Terrence Shannon, but he could be right behind him. So to me, I'm starting to flip more of like what can Battle do for this team more so than I am Bruce Thornton needs to be an All-American for this team to be good.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Jamison Battle pick a lot. I think I would if I could go back and change, that actually would be who I would go for.
So we're 2 for 10. We need to nail the last 4 to push on the over-under of 6. I think we can do it, though. Looking at the teams, I think we can do it. Who's the most important player on Penn State?
Ace Baldwin.
Ace Baldwin. Once again, teams that have nothing but a dominant point guard, we're pretty good at this. Who's the most important player on Purdue?
I said Fletch.
Oh, okay, we're dead. I said Braden.
Damn it.
I think it's Braden. Why do you think it's Fletch?
You know what? I really think if we redid this again, I did like this criteria, like we spoke on a criteria before. I just have no doubts that Braden's gonna be good. I have zero doubts he's gonna be good. And honestly, when I say zero doubts he's gonna be good, I have zero doubts he's gonna be better this season either. I feel very confident in saying that. If they can get what they got from Fletch to start the season last year, then you're gonna see just how good this team can really be.
So I'm with you on the zero doubts. The reason I would stick with Braden over Fletch is because I think even if Fletcher is 100 out of 100 good, if he's the best case version of himself, I don't think it is needle moving compared to what Braden's going to be asked to do. Like Fletch could shoot 45% from 3 this year. And at all times, he's going to be the 3rd most important player on the floor for Purdue. Braden Smith being what you and I both feel very confident he is what would take Purdue from the team they were last year to even better. Like if Braden Smith has the jump everybody thinks Tyrese Proctor is going to make, all of a sudden this team is no question the best team in the country, regardless of what Fletcher Lawyer's doing. So I can see why you went Fletch though, but yeah, my answer is Braden. So we have 3 correct, 2 remaining. Let's at least make this respectable. Who's the most important player on Rutgers?
I said it's Derek Simpson.
It's Derek Simpson. Yeah, it's Derek Simpson.
Okay.
They need his offense desperately. I don't know what else they're going to do. It could be Griffiths too, but I think
I got scared you're going to go Griffiths there.
I think Simpson's the correct answer. All right, and then final one. It would have been I wish we had nailed Braden because we would have had this to tie. Who's the most important player on Wisconsin?
It's Chucky Hepburn.
Chucky, man. We were right there. We almost nailed the run at the end. Yeah,
That's on me, but it was one of the earlier ones that killed me. I'm not even mad about the Purdue one. I'm upset about the other ones though.
it's gross for Wisconsin that Chucky Hepburn's their most important player.
Yeah. And Greg Gard just came out the other day and said that he shed 15 pounds. That's awful. Look, he's cooked. They're cooked.
Greg Gard shed
Cooked.
15 pounds or Chucky Hepburn did?
Chucky Hepburn.
Oh, I thought we were saying Greg Gard lost 15 and that means they're cooked.
No.
Can I drop a name for you? I thought about picking this guy, but I stayed away for it for the sake of trying to win the game with you. I think the second most important player on Wisconsin this year is Nolan Winter.
The big man, right?
Yeah, freshman. He like exploded onto the scene in the scrimmage and was really good. And Greg Gard keeps like mentioning him in press conferences right now. He keeps telling the media he's like his seventh guy as a freshman. I think the kid's 6'10", like he's hitting threes. I think like if he can cut
Like
it,
you think it's important even like over because they have crowds still?
I think he could cut in and take a lot of Tyler Wall's empty minutes. And I know that crushes your spirit, but
How dare you?
I think if this freshman kid is like Tyler Wall with a jump shot and rim protection immediately, I'm like, whoa, now I'm taking Wisconsin seriously.
Okay, I don't want Nolan Winter to play then because I don't want to live in a world where I podcast with you every single day in a world where we're taking Wisconsin seriously.
You just know it's dreadful to know that we're gonna have to deal with 4 years of this kid Nolan Winter though. Like if he's good, like we're stuck with 4 years of this kid in Madison, Wisconsin.
Hold on, wait a minute. There's this is a factor on where Wisconsin basketball is going to go in the next couple of years. Hold on one second. Okay. Nolan Winters from Minnesota.
I like that.
He ain't he's that's big for them, but that's also doesn't that I don't know if that also tracks with the fact that he might stay there all 4 years.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Remains to be seen.
Okay.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. Just the fact that honestly, the fact that I saw he's from Minnesota, I immediately got Luka Garza flashbacks. Actually, no, I didn't. Sorry. Luka Garza's from DeMatha. He's from the DMV. But him being from Minnesota, and not going to Minnesota in my eyes means he's really good. So that's huge.
That's true.
Players that are from Minnesota that leave Minnesota to play are good. Real good.
Okay. Noted. I've jotted that down in my notebook.